Now joining us, D.C. Communications Director and Chief Strategist for the RNC, Sean Spicer. Sean, thank you for joining us. Sean, I'm sure you've been eavesdropping. We're talking about your candidate's infatuation, I will say, with Vladimir Putin. If you were alone in a room with Mr. Trump right now and you were counseling him on his Putin dance, so to speak, what would you say to him?
Well, look, I think Donald Trump's done very well without my advice, and he'll continue to do well on his own. So I'm not going to give him advice. I think he speaks for himself, and he articulates something that I think is why Americans are tired of doublespeak. He speaks his mind, and I think that's something that most Americans right now find attractive in a world where they're being spoon-fed sound bites and more of the same of the establishment
do you think it's
that Hillary Clinton represents.
Do you think it's okay that he gives kudos to a man who is basically a dictator, a man who jails journalists, a man who invades countries? Do you think it's okay for your candidate to be giving him kudos?
I think that a lot of folks in the media are overplaying this and trying to talk about him doing kudos. He was very clear about the context in which he was doing it. He didn't approve of the system of government or the way he did, but he had given him a compliment, and he said, I appreciate his compliment. I don't agree with their system of government, but let's keep it in context, Donnie.
Sean, do you think Vladimir Putin's a better leader than Barack Obama?
That's not and I don't think it is two totally separate, different systems of government, and I think it's hard to make an apples and apples competition.
That's what Donald Trump.
I'm a proud American, and I think we should all be respectful of the office of President of the United States.
But that's what Donald Trump did. He said that Vladimir Putin was a better leader than Barack Obama. So do you agree with that or not?
I gave you my answer, John.
You did?
Yes, and I'm not going to. I mean, Donald Trump speaks for Donald Trump. I think if he's made it very clear what he believes, and I think that our job is to help get out the word and make that contrast with Hillary Clinton. But he's very clear, and I think taking part of that quote in context, or out of context rather, is a little misleading. I mean, he was very clear that he didn't approve of the system of government that exists in Russia or some of the actions, but he was talking about the following that he had and the decisiveness, especially with respect to how Russia is dealing with ISIS.
Okay. I actually don't think it's an unfair question to ask you whether you think Vladimir Putin's a better leader than Barack Obama. It's just a straightforward question. It's either a yes or no.
I don't think it matters what I think. Donald Trump has stated his position. I think you doing mental gymnastics over and over again on this is not getting any further.
Go ahead, Donnie.
Okay. Rudy Giuliani last night went on record on Chris Matthews and said that Mr. Trump has acknowledged that basically the birther movement was false and that Barack Obama is a U.S. citizen. Has Donald Trump come out and said that?
Not that I'm aware of, but I take Mayor Giuliani spends a lot of time with him, so if he's said it, I trust what the mayor has said.
But Sean, you're spending some fair amount of time at Trump Tower now, so again, just to follow up on Donnie's question, there is some question. I have not heard Mr. Trump say now that he believes that Barack Obama is a legitimate president who was born in the United States. Mayor Giuliani said that last night. Does Mayor Giuliani speak for the Trump campaign, to your knowledge, on this matter? Does he have Donald Trump's proxy on this?
Mayor Giuliani spends a lot of time with him. I know that, and he has his counsel. He's giving him counsel and spending time with him on a variety of subjects. So I'm sure that if the mayor said it, then that's what he believes or he said. But right. I have no reason to doubt what Mayor Giuliani said. Right.
But do you know, just as a matter of fact, whether Donald Trump believes Barack Obama was born in America now?
I do. I have not heard him say that. That has not been a subject of conversation. No.
Right. So after there's been a lot of reporting, and I really want you to try to clear this up. There's been a lot of reporting on right now about the state of relations between the RNC and you're at the point of this, the state of the relations between the RNC and the Trump campaign. When Chairman Priebus didn't put out a statement after Donald Trump's immigration speech, there was a New York Times story that suggested there was a lot of discord. What's the state of affairs there?
Well, that was entirely false. There was never a statement drafted, never one asked for. I mean, it literally was made up of whole cloth. There was never a statement. There was never a draft. There was never a thought. There was never a question. There was never an email about a statement. It literally was completely false. The state of relations, as you noted, I've been up at Trump Tower. Chairman Priebus was up there this week. He was on the plane with Donald Trump. We were speaking at voter values together. We just held a call about our ground game with Dave Bossy of the Trump campaign, touting what we've actually done to put the most comprehensive ground game in terms of voter contact and people out on the ground. So I think we have a tremendous relationship with the Trump campaign. It's probably one of the best hand-in-glove operations that I've ever seen in the last 30 years in politics.
There's been a lot of talk about the Trump get out the vote campaign. And then I think the words he used was, in the history of politics, we are going to have the greatest get out vote ground game yet. When we see offices, field offices in various states, we see Hillary Clinton with 58 offices in Florida, and I think Donald Trump with 1 or 2. How is that magically, where are those elves going to come from?
That's actually, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Donnie, because here's the problem. The Hillary Clinton campaign has gone out there and touted offices. And frankly, we do have a ton of offices. I think we have 30-something offices in Florida, 40 or 50 in Ohio, and more coming online every day. But the bottom line, and here's the bigger thing, it's what they're not talking about. They're not talking about voter contact, and they're not talking about staff. 4 years ago, we started deploying staff in all of these battleground states on a year-round basis. We've made over 4.4 million voter contacts. We have over 6,000 staff in the field right now. In context, we had 596 in the 2012 election. That is an exponential factor of 12. We can tout those numbers. We can talk about our staff. We can talk about our voter contact. The Clinton campaign, by their own account, just got staff into the field a few months ago. The only thing that they can talk about right now is staff offices. That's like me talking about the number of cars that I own as like somehow I'm a good driver. You need drivers in those cars. We've been out in the field for 4 years now, making voter contacts, training people. We have the most comprehensive ground game, bar none, of any political operation in history.
Sean, real quick, Vice presidential nominee Mike Pence has said that he's going to release his tax returns. When he said he was going to release his tax returns, he said Donald Trump and I are both going to release our tax returns. Do you know of any plans currently afoot for Donald Trump to release his tax returns?
I'm not aware of one.
Okay.
But I think, when it comes to disclosure, I'd like to say, one of the big things right now is in terms of the Clinton Foundation. We've got a huge transparency issue there in terms of, I think if we want to really get out someone who was in government and had an opportunity to show, instead of shredding emails, let's find out what's out there.
Appreciate
if the Clinton campaign refuses to give up the emails from the foundation,
Sean,
show really what happened and what the quid pro quos were. that's where the real transparency issue is.
Sean, I appreciate that. I think the ultimate transparency issue, in fact, is this tax return issue, and I appreciate you don't know whether he's going to do it or not. I'm interested, since Vice President since Governor Pence said that it was going to happen. I was hoping that we were finally going to get